Hi, this is Mina, owner of Lamina Beauty. Today I'm coming with a video about something that I know we hear often. If you haven't, you're lucky, but knowing when to take breaks. Hearing go harder, push past the pain, no breaks, right? Wrong. I'm talking about something that gets overlooked in our hustle driven, fast forward world. Something so simple yet so powerful. That's not knowing when to take a break. Some, it might cause a cringe, honestly, like even to me, because I'm sometimes like that. I'll use any time to get my goals accomplished, any time to carve out the life God has for me. And the crazy part is, I'll use God for the reason why I'm not taking a break. I'll be like, I'm not sick. Why am I not doing this? I'm not hurt. Why am I not doing this? But sometimes that's not the best approach. There has to be balance. Me personally, I always respect the Sabbath day, and I have been doing that for a while. And so that's just one day where I say, I don't need to shop, I don't need to go outside, I don't need to work out. You know, Most of the time, I don't, like I say, I don't go outside on that day. And it's needed because even on that day, I find myself saying, it's Saturday, let's do a little stretch, let's work out, or let's go do this, let's go do that, let's go drink or whatever. It's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Today is not about fast. Today is time to rest. It has to be a season of rest, just like it has to be a season of hustle. It has to be a season of grind. It has to be a season of rest. Let me tell you something. Exhaustion is not a badge of honor. There's this hostile energy in the air sometimes that we think if we're not constantly grinding, constantly moving, constantly, doing something that we're falling behind. Behind what? Behind whom? We're not falling behind. We're not falling anywhere. We're not falling anywhere, amen, but we're definitely not falling behind. Constant motion without rest isn't strength. It's a slow breakdown waiting to happen. Even in the most powerful, even the most powerful devices need time to recharge. So why don't you think you do? Taking a break isn't a weakness, it's wisdom. Give your mind and body a moment to recover so you can come back sharper, stronger, more focused. There's a difference between giving up and strategically stepping back. A break is not the end. It's not A break is an investment in your next move. It's a pause. It's an investment in your next move. A break is an investment in your next move. Even the Lord took breaks, okay? Quote unquote rest, right? As it's called in the Bible. But after he did his work, he looked back and saw it was good. Hello? Even God took break. Like, you not, you know what I'm saying? We're not God. Nothing of the sort, not even close. So what makes you think you don't need a break? Yet somehow we've convinced ourselves that we just don't need one. We need to push all the time or we're slacking off. Please. When your mind is overwhelmed, creativity drops. When you're overworked, performance drops. When your soul is drained, your passion disappears. Pause with purpose. Reset your energy, your mindset, your momentum. Because that's all it is. It's a reset. Know when to take a break. So, whether you're chasing big dreams, leading a team, like studying for exams, building a business, or whatever, trying to keep it all together, right? Listen to your signals. Your body knows, your mind knows, your spirit knows. Amen. Okay, so I have a list. I have a benefit of a break list, right? Let's start off with one. It helps you reflect on what's not working and what's working. And a lot of seasons where I realized my life went left is I realized it went left because I was moving too fast. I was in a state of depression, or I was in a state of, oh wait, depression is not the word I'm looking for. I was in a state of desperation. That's the word I'm looking for. You're moving too fast, you're too thirsty, and you latch on to the first thing that looks like what you might need, and it doesn't work. You don't need, because you didn't take the time to reflect on what's working and what's not, to check the analytics. Number two, helps avoid burnout. Now, burnout sometimes is not explained in the best form. Burnout can look totally different on so many people. But obviously, we realize in this life, everything can't be 100 all the time, right? So, burnout can look like you're tired all the time, you have low energy to talk, you have low energy to get yourself done up in the morning, you have low energy to work out. You're putting too much energy on things that don't benefit your life, like junk food or smoking. You're creating all these different habits that don't align with yourself. That's usually burnout. And that's not where it needs to go if you really would just take a break. And some people don't even know how to take breaks. And it's understandable, because sometimes I don't even know how to take a break. I don't know whether I need meditation, ashwagandha, to sit down, to swim, to go on vacation, to work harder. I never really know. But if you don't even try to give yourself a moment of grace and a pause, burnout might be in your future. My third point is reconnects you with your purpose. So like I mentioned with the first point, you it helps you, taking a break helps you reflect on what's working and what's not. So in that, you're able to reconnect with your purpose, reconnect with the goals, reconnect with the mission. Make sure you're asking the Lord where your life is going. Make sure you're actually getting evidence, making sure you're actually being able to reconnect with yourself and the purpose of whatever you're working so hard to get at, because obviously you want it, or you wouldn't be working so hard for it. But you have to stop and make sure that this isn't just work. This is actually a connection. This is actually a purpose. And this is actually for you still. And you're doing it for a bigger purpose. My fourth point is reminds you that you're not a machine and you're actually human. If you don't stop and take a moment and reflect and do all the things, on this list, right? You will start trying to be a machine, start trying to fit in and be perfect. Now, we all know no one's perfect, and we're not machines, we're humans. But if you don't stop to pause, now you're creating an environment where you're treating everyone else as if they're supposed to be a machine. You're treating your children, you're treating your spouse, you're treating your body, your face, things that are inevitable. And you're like, this shouldn't be happening to me because I'm perfect. I'm a machine. You're not. You're human. Or on the emotional side, you build up all these different type of are you constantly suppress all these different type of emotions? So now they're coming out in inappropriate timings. You're not a machine. You are a human. It's time to start seeing breaks as a part of strategy, part of the process. Honor them, protect them. You deserve them. You do. And don't be acting like that, right? Don't say that. And say that you deserve them, because you don't deserve it just after blank. You don't deserve, like, oh, let me take a break after I do this all day. And then come home and clean. And then come home and talk about my husband's day. And then you know what I mean? You deserve a break now. Even if it's 10 minutes, 5 seconds. Find your, like I said, it's part of the process. Breaks are part of the strategy. Rest is something you deserve, you need. Sometimes the power move is knowing when to power down. And we all know that the tortoise win the race at the end. Amen. So that's all I have for now. Thanks for listening. Bye now.